Hi there, Bridget Murphy here, shamanic healer and teacher, with the third in a series of 10 signs that healing is happening. I talk a lot about healing and how to understand a healing process. Knowing what to look for when you are on a healing journey can be really, really helpful. And so today's sign that healing is happening is when you start to look at your progress versus your perceived limitations. We all have limitations that we experience. Some of them come from the outside world. Some of them come from our internal world. And those are the ones that I want to talk about. Because when we're talking about a healing process, we can focus on what's inside much more easily than focusing on what's on the outside. And our limitations, when we're talking about what's on the inside, what's in our heart, what's in our mind, our limitations are often perceived limitations. We think that we can't. We think that we aren't. We think that we won't. And we often think that we don't. And those are all perceptions that we have about ourselves. And we particularly have perceptions around our healing process. We get caught up in those limitations that we perceive. Like healing will never happen. Healing is not going to happen for me. This is taking so long. I am never going to change this. I'm going to suffer forever. Those are all perceived limitations. And we can get caught up in them, especially when we're in pain, especially when things aren't going right, especially when we're going around a really hard bend on the corner or in the corner of healing. And it's at those times particularly that we really need to remember our progress. Make a list of how you progressed. And at first, you're probably going to say, I haven't progressed at all. I'm still feeling crappy. These symptoms are still happening. Nothing has changed. But when you soften the edges a little bit, and I mentioned that in the second episode, when you soften the edges a little bit, you will find that change has occurred. It may be small. It may be incremental. You may not even have perceived or paid attention to the change. But change and progress are inevitable. No matter where you are, who you are, how old you are, or how much pain you are experiencing, change is inevitable and progress is inevitable. You can never go backwards. Never, ever. It's impossible to go backwards, although we feel like we're going backwards sometimes. So recognizing your progress. How have you changed in the last couple months? What has worked in the last couple weeks? Who have you let into your world? What have you welcomed in? What can you celebrate as progress? And if you can't find anything, if you sit here and say, nope, nothing has changed, there's been no progress, I'm in the exact predicament I was 6 months ago, the exact same place I was, I want to invite you to find somebody you trust, somebody who's observant, and somebody who has watched your process, and ask them to tell you what they have noticed about your progress. Not what they've noticed about your limitations, but what they've noticed about your progress. And I guarantee you that they will come up with at least 2 things that they have noticed that have shown or to show you what your progress is. And when you start focusing on your progress instead of your limitations, you're going to notice that there's an opening that occurs. And when that opening occurs, it brings relief. And when relief happens, more of an opening occurs. So today's sign of the 10 signs that healing is happening is when you start noticing your progress more than you notice your perceived limitations. I hope that you take that to heart and do some work with it. If you'd like to see the whole series of videos, you can go to my YouTube channel. There's a playlist for 10 signs that healing is happening. I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye for now.